Hey guys, this is AJ, and this is the Conservative Reject channel. And I just started this channel. I don't really know if it's going to go anywhere, but I would love it to, if it did. So, you guys want to stick around and watch it? I am much obliged, and I thank you very much. This is pretty much going to be a channel where I rant and diatribe about pretty much everything under the sun, so you guys want to stick around? I'm more than happy to have you here. So, today's video, we're going to be watching Tucker interview pretty much a crazy professor here. A little bit over the top. So, let's get right into it. Campus craziness.
Well, rogue CNN hosts aren't the only people taking the side of Antifa. Two professors, one at Stanford, the other at Purdue, working to create what they're calling a campus anti-fascism network. It's national. It says its goal is to, quote, drive racists off campus. Laura Beth Nielsen is a professor at Northwestern University. She supports the creation of this network, and she joins us tonight.
See your
Thanks
eyes
a lot for
widen.
coming on, Professor. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to take this seriously because I think it's a serious matter. So first, just tell me what the point of this network is.
Well, I should say, just to be perfectly clear, I'm not affiliated with the CAN network, the Campus Anti-Fascist Network.
Oh my gosh. He just said you supported it. He didn't say you were affiliated with it, woman. Come on. Tucker said you supported the network. Did you not hear him say that? He didn't get anything wrong. You say it as if he got something wrong. This is what liberals do. One of the things they do is they always act like someone on the opposing side is already wrong. No, they're not. He said, this woman, Laura Beth Nielsen, Northwestern University professor, supports the Campus Anti-Fascist Network, not affiliated with it, meaning she has some sort of actual connection to it. There's a difference between an affiliation and actually just supporting something. There's a difference. Did she not hear him say the word support? Let me be perfectly clear. I'm not affiliated. Of course. He didn't say you were affiliated, woman. Stop trying to get some superiority complex already in the argument. My gosh.
I'm a scholar of free speech and campus hate speech and those kinds
of
issues.
A scholar of free speech. Here we go again. They love throwing these words around. This is what liberals and Democrats do. They love to throw these words around because it makes them sound smarter. When they have no arguments, they love to throw terminology around. This is what these people do. She's no scholar. All these professors are a bunch of freaking propagandists. Whatever.
So I looked at their materials, and I think their purpose is to try to, or what they say their purpose is, and I don't have any reason to disbelieve them, so is to help scholars of political theory, political science, and history to develop the kinds of courses about the history of fascism, to help college students make sense of what they're seeing in the news today and to try to interpret what's going on politically.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I love the term scholar because it so rarely applies to people who work in colleges, I've noticed.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't apply to people in colleges too much because there's a lack of scholarship found within the professorial faculty lounges.
I went through the syllabus to this, and I read a lot of the pieces on here. Here are some of the titles. U.S. Cops and Klan hand in hand. Star-Spangled Fascism. We charge genocide. Right-wing populism and awakening fascism. Anti-Semitism in the White House under Donald Trump. So Those are not scholarly articles. A lot of them are on just
is looking off screen.
Websites,
She's looking around
but I
like
decided
all
to take it seriously,
fluttered.
as I said, read one. And here's
You're
the piece on
supposed to be
anti-Semitism.
looking at the lens,
This is
woman.
why this
Look
piece
at the
in this
lens
syllabus,
like
but
an
if
adult.
you're supporting, says
Come
Donald Trump
on.
is an anti-Semite because he
Conduct
gave a speech saying
yourself
this.
as a mature adult.
Workers in the United States are making less than they made 20 years ago, yet they're working
Focus.
harder. We've seen the firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents. Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of American sovereignty in order to enrich these global powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. That piece says that that phrase is anti-Semitic. It holds that up as evidence that the President of the United States is an anti-Semite. That's insane.
Did you see that? Did you hear that? An anti-Semitism charge against the president because he met with banks. So liberals automatically think that this guy is being anti-Semitic. He thinks the President of the United States is being anti-Semitic because he met with a bunch of international banks. You want to talk about stereotypes? The very thing liberals try to avoid. They try to say, oh, don't you dare stereotype. And yet what are they doing here? Oh, international banks. They must be full of Jews. Oh. And then they automatically think, oh, anti-Semitic. Oh, gosh. All of these sources extracted from these left-wing websites is propaganda. They propagate their own lies. They spew their vitriolic dogma. And they tout it as scholarly articles and empirical questions. No! They tout it as an educational course. No, it's not. This is so ridiculous.
That's just lunacy.
Look at her trying to defend it. Look at her with the hand gestures.
I should say that the syllabus that they've put up is open source. Anyone can go on there and add an article.
What? Open source syllabus? What the hell is that? There's no such thing. If it's open source, it's not a syllabus. What kind of class is this? Syllabus. Oh my gosh, it's not open source. You don't do that. People can't go in and change the syllabi of classes. They're a set layout of the course. You don't go in and change it. If it's open source, it sure as hell ain't an actual educational course. I'm telling you that right now. What is this woman even talking about? These liberals don't have arguments. They spew garbage.
The things I like to teach my students at Northwestern is how to evaluate if something is scholarly or not. So is it a peer-reviewed? No, it's a set of ideas of scholars who are trying to talk together about how to organize these classes.
But there's no scholarship. That's the point. There's no scholarship in that.
Is that a peer-reviewed publication?
Look at her leaning in.
Nothing on the syllabus is peer-reviewed.
Look at her.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
are you sure?
There's 6 ones on there
that I got.
Look at her immature little gesticulations and her head gyrations.
Not on the one that I had.
My gosh.
So here's the invitation letter for the
peer review.
Calm down, woman.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
look at the disposition in Tucker, and look at her. Look at her disposition right now. Eyes widening. Her eye roll. Her head gyrating.
And I'm quoting now.
Such indications of absolute immaturity.
Fascists,
this is what these people do. They don't have an argument, so they act all theatrical.
Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, racist, and ableist messaging and iconography to recruit their ranks and intimidate students. They're allies? Who does that mean? It seems to me like they're tarring anybody who voted for Trump as a bigot.
No, I think what they're trying to say is that what you just
another thing that liberals do to try to backtrack and defend themselves. I think what they were trying to say is, sorry, honey, it doesn't work like that. You can't just go and go, I think Hitler might have not killed 6 million Jews, but I'm not sure. You don't get to interpret what people do. They speak for themselves. Okay? My gosh.
read from the letter is an empirical question. As scholars,
it's not an empirical question. It's a statement. It's not an empirical question. He stated it in the article. They stated that he's an anti-Semite, that they are racist. Are you kidding me? It's a statement. It's not an empirical question.
To know if that's true. We want to look to the research about hate crimes and about incidents of hate speech and try to understand if there's something going on in this moment.
Right?
Right, they are. And what I would say is that's an empirical question. The FBI keeps hate crime statistics. I would take my kids right to look at those. Those were linked on there. So are the Southern Poverty Law Center.
What's the ableist messaging?
Gosh, Southern Poverty Law Center. One of the most incredible cesspools of liberal dogma there is. They are essentially worthless. They literally are a hate group against anything and everything conservative and Christian and everything else. And of course, their acronym, always what liberals do with their acronyms, they lie and they deceive. Southern Poverty Law Center. Sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? Just like the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. Sounds pretty damn good, doesn't it? Till you find out what they do. They're about as against civil liberties for conservatives and Christians and Republicans as it gets. They're extremely morally selective with who they support. So much for being a civil liberties union. You can shove it with your little Southern Poverty Law Center and your ACLU. They are not reliable sources.
Iconography that Trump supporters are engaging in. Like, what does any of this mean? Like, it's so non-specific that it just seems like pure political propaganda to me of the least impressive kind. Do you not see that? I mean, I don't see any scholarship in here at all, and I read the whole thing.
Well, I would say there's definitely a place in political theory, political science, and history for understanding the roots of fascism so that we can understand if we are having a fascistic moment and what anti-fascism is. And one thing that I see quite a bit right now is a conflation.
Do you understand what fascism is?
Antifa or anti-fascists and anarchists.
Really?
Anarchists and anti-fascists are different political philosophies. Anarchists don't believe in order.
Really,
They're
huh?
out there
Really?
doing street violence.
Is that why Antifa members are going around beating people to a pulp? Is that why they're wearing black bandanas across their faces and hoodies to hide who they are? Really? These are anti-fascists? Really? So you're saying anti-fascist people. Fascism, essentially, which is a construct, a political construct in which is by force controlling people's lives. Fascism is essentially brute force. Essentially what it is at its essence. And Antifa, you're saying they're against fascism? Are you kidding me? Everything in history, these liberals have always aligned themselves with these dictators. They idolize Benito Mussolini, a fascist. This is what they do on the left. Stalin was a fascist. And you have liberals who idolize him. They idolize Solinsky. All these people are fascistic in their ideologies. Why? They want big government. What does big government do? They control your lives. Bigger government means they control more of what you do, which is, in essence, force. This is not hard. This is not rocket science. So Antifa, which are leftist groups, they're the actual fascists. This is what liberals do. They always name themselves the opposite of what they are, to hide who they really are. Always. Whenever you see a name of a liberal organization or individual, just remember, they pretty much are what the opposite of the name of their organization is. Always remember that. It's who they are. They are straight up industry-based liars. They've made an industry out of sin. They've made an industry out of lying. They have to, because they don't have real principle. Are you kidding me?
Maybe they're being incited, and we could talk about the free speech issues with that, but being anti-fascist means that you don't support a totalitarian government that bases loyalty, crushes opposition on the basis of nationalistic racial identity.
Yeah, that's what's so silly about all of this, is that, look, whatever you think of the administration, they're not crushing opposition. In fact, opposition has grown in a way that we haven't seen in my lifetime in this country. So if it's a fascist government, this is the beginning of a fascist movement. They're doing a pretty bad job of it, aren't they?
Well, I think there has been an increase in hate crimes and hate speech towards different groups.
Oh, wait. So you're talking about an increase in hate group crimes. Really? Really? So since he took office about, what, 8 to 10 months ago, we saw one white supremacist rally in Charlottesville. One! Out of everything in the country, that's one thing you could actually cite. You could source. There's nothing else. Where's all the rest of it? Where are all the right-wing conservative and Christian hate groups? Burning down buildings, throwing Molotov cocktails through business windows. Where is that? Huh, woman? Where is that? That's right. It's nowhere. You manufactured it. Your little Southern Poverty Law Center manufactured it. Give me a break. You freaking liar. There is no such thing.
You mentioned since the election. It's pretty well documented by both the FBI and the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Okay,
I mean,
whatever.
of course,
that's
as
not
Americans,
now it's
we
the
know.
Southern Poverty Law. I mean, you know what? If you're going to, like, I'm a professor and I'm a scholar, and you cite the Southern Poverty Law Center, that's so self-discrediting that I don't know what to say to that.
It is.
I mean, that's not scholarship.
Well, you could replicate it as a social scientist.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean? Replicate it? No. It's not even a study. This is political propaganda from political websites. Are you kidding me? Replicate what? There's no surveyors out on the field saying, oh, look at all these KKK and white supremacist groups everywhere. These evil Christians going out, and they're hurting people and they're destroying them and they're killing people and destroying businesses. Where is this? You want to enlighten me? Huh? You want to enlighten me, Professor, where this is actually happening? That's right. You can't, because you're not going to find it.
Replicate their research. They put it out there. There's the method.
It's political propaganda. I read it every single day. It's like one guy's opinion, working out his political beliefs. There's no scholarship in that. Go to the website.
True.
Well,
if you think that's scholarship, then I don't want to send my kids to your school. I guess is what
I'm sorry. But I do think that I think it's really important to emphasize that most Americans
don't go to my school.
Are anti-fascist. We have a history of fighting fascism. The American military was involved in World War II. That was violent anti-fascism.
No duh.
Hitler.
You don't need to give me a history lesson on that.
Insofar as there's a discussion about
Thanks for the enlightenment.
We're moving politically, students need to understand the history of it. Don't you want them to
they can learn the
understand
history of World War II, but this just seems totally hysterical to me. But, okay, we're going to have to leave it there. We're out of time. Professor, thanks for coming on.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. Well, there you go. Campus craziness. So this professor, my gosh, this is what you get from the left. This is what you get. She's just another typical, not anomalous, a typical example of the left. This is who liberals are. They made an industry out of sin and transgression. They made an industry out of propagating lies. And this woman, she's not one of the masterminds by any means. At most, she's just a naive ditz who goes along with it. She goes on for the sake of making an argument. The only bit of credit I could give her is actually coming on the Tucker. But that doesn't take much. You sit your little butt cheeks down on a chair and stare at a lens. But she couldn't even do that, could she? Kept looking off screen and gyrating her head because she had no argument. So she had to become all theatrical and dramatic as they usually do. It's just unbelievable. Guys, we got to remember who these people are. They don't care about this country. They live in their own world. Everything is upside down. Everything is ass backwards with them. It's just the way they are. It's the way they'll always be. These people don't seek the change, and they don't seek to bring peace to this country. Just look at her, supporting Antifa through this network. She doesn't have to be affiliated with it to support it. If you support it, you're just as bad. You're just as bad because you support the principle of it, as if leftists actually had principles, which they don't. These people are unbelievable. Not for the sake of literally not believing what they're doing, but that these people could be so wicked, so selfish, and so prickish in their own little naive lives. This professor doesn't understand what she's even saying. A syllabus, right. Open source syllabus. I've never heard of such a thing. And if there is, what the hell kind of class is that? Sounds a bit chaotic to me. If you don't have a solidified course layout. They touted a so-called educational course as political theory. You want to talk about crazy? That's crazy. That's propagandizing. To say that discussion of political theory, actual scholarly discussion, is based upon left-wing political websites spewing their opinions as if they're actual statements of truth. And they all parrot each other. They're parrots. Caw, caw, caw. Evil Republicans. Oh, look what this guy said. Evil Republicans. Oh, this guy said that too. Evil Republicans. It's like a ping pong match. Bounces off CNN, goes to MSNBC, goes to NBC, goes to ABC, goes to PBS, I don't know, goes to Huffington Post, goes to the Young Turks, and it goes everywhere. They just feed off of each other's hate, off of each other's lies. Because they have a dominance of the media, it gives the appearance that if it comes from a lot of sources, given that they have a majority control of the media, that if it looks like it's coming from a bunch of different networks, people think it's true. Fortunately now, in these days, people are starting to wake up and realize these networks really are leftist. And they have a leftist agenda and narrative. But it's taken people a long time to wake up to this. And I'm afraid they will never fully wake up to it. But I hope they do. Frankly, I don't even know if these networks should even exist anymore, given that they are so propagandizing. They are so narrow-minded. You know, Fox News is... Every network has its bias. We have to understand that. I mean, even the Drudge Report, the people who make those reports, got to understand, everyone has a political background. Everyone. No matter how objective you are. But just because you have a bias doesn't mean you can't be a fair and objective reporter or journalist. And Fox News comes pretty damn close to being as objective and fair and balanced as possible. I'm just giving them credit. CNN is the next best objective one. But you know what? That's actually not saying much. They have shown their true colors. They have gone so insane, so absurd in their liberalism. They have broken loose from their restraints and their self-composure since Trump got in office. Something about Trump getting in office really, really tweaked them. And they can't stand it. They viciously attack him. All of these networks, the vast majority of their coverage of the president is overwhelmingly negative. That speaks of a narrative that is built against the president and not for him. And this is what these people do. Fox News has a conservative bias, but it is the most truthful and it is the most objectively based there is in news network television. It's just the way it is. Whether you're a liberal, you're an atheist, you're a Christian, you're a Democrat, you're a libertarian, and whatever you are, they are the most objectively based and fair and balanced for what fair and balanced can be. I understand they have their token liberals, but they're still liberals. They're just maybe a bit more watered down. But they're still liberals. I frankly can't stand listening to Juan or Beckel. But you know what? Fox Mays makes an attempt at being fair and balanced, and they do a good job. But it's even more than that. They're just simply right. And to be on the right is being right. So, this has been my 2 cents on this story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You need to watch out for these people. These professors are everywhere. They're everywhere. So you have to be vigilant. You got to watch out. If you're a young conservative, a young Christian, hold to your principles strong. Do not relent from them. Hold on to them tightly, because professors are out to rip you apart and to convert you to a leftist in these universities and community colleges all over the country. They have essentially almost a monopoly on the media and educational institutions. It's scary because they don't actually have principle. They have to gain control of the industries in this country that are able to control the minds of the naive and empty sponges of the youth. They know they can't get these smart older people who know what they're doing and know what's real and truthful and really moral. So they go after the young, essentially naively stupid youth. They go after them and they convert them to liberalism because they're so open to it. And that's the dangerous thing. They've understood this a long time ago. Decades ago, they learned. They can't get the older people who understand what's right and what actually works. So they go after the young people who don't know anything better, regardless even if their parents are conservative or Christian. Professors, these professorial, elitist, intellectual savants everywhere, ripping apart the minds of our youth everywhere, our millennials, overwhelmed with liberal saturation in media of all types. And we got to stand against it. We got to be vigilant. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys, whether you love me or hate my guts. And I hope you really enjoyed this. I'll see you guys later in the next video. Bye guys. This has been AJ. I'll see you later.